The observation chamber's gravitational field hummed at 1.3 standard units as Nyla adjusted the holographic display with a gesture of her triple-jointed fingers. Below, in the combat arena constructed from carbon nanotube-reinforced alloy, Brian moved through his conditioning routine with mechanical precision. Nyla's bioluminescent markings flickered amber, the color of fascination among her species, the Vorathi. She had spent 73 rotations studying this particular human specimen since the diplomatic vessel Meridian's Edge had docked at Station Kepler 442b. Of the 217 humans aboard, Brian was the only one who demonstrated the peculiar combination of controlled aggression and tactical adaptability that the Vorathi military academies prized above all else. "Subject exhibits elevated cortisol levels," announced the monitoring AI, its voice synthesized to match Vorathi tonal frequencies. "Heart rate, 140 beats per minute. Muscle fiber recruitment, 87%. Brian didn't know he was being watched. The one-way osmium glass ensured that. He performed a series of movements that the human martial database identified as a synthesis of Muay Thai, Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu, and Krav Maga combat systems evolved over millennia of human conflict. But what captivated Nyla wasn't the movements themselves. It was the mathematics beneath them. Every strike followed optimal kinetic pathways. Every shift in weight distribution minimized energy expenditure while maximizing force transfer. The human body, so fragile compared to Vorathi physiology, compensated through biomechanical efficiency that bordered on perfection. Brian fought as if his skeleton were a framework of precision-engineered levers, his muscles perfectly calibrated springs. "Analyze the neural patterns during his last combination sequence," Nyla commanded, leaning forward until her face nearly touched the transparent barrier. The holographic display shifted, overlaying Brian's physical form with a network of pulsing blue light, his nervous system firing in real time. The prefrontal cortex showed minimal activity. The amygdala, that ancient seat of emotion, glowed hot. But strangest of all was the cerebellum, that structure humans called the little brain, operating at what the AI calculated as 142% of normal human capacity. "He's not thinking," Nyla whispered, her secondary vocal cords producing a subsonic harmonic of wonder. "He's become pure reaction." This was what Vorathi strategists called Tafen Mora, the state of perfect flow where consciousness and action merged into a single phenomenon. Among Nyla's people, achieving Tafen Mora required decades of neural conditioning and cybernetic augmentation. This human achieved it through nothing but biological adaptation and training. Brian executed a spinning back kick that would have shattered ribs, then dropped into a ground position so fast the motion sensors briefly lost tracking. He was fighting invisible opponents, but the violence was real. Sweat flew from his skin in precise parabolic arcs, each droplet following trajectories determined by the rotation of the station's artificial gravity drum. Nyla's markings shifted to violet, the color of desire. "That warrior should be mine," she breathed, the words escaping before her analytical mind could suppress them. The AI made no comment. It had logged 17 similar statements over the past 20 rotations. The Vorathi expansion required soldiers, but not the kind that other species could provide. The insectoid Kresh were too rigid in their tactical thinking. The methane-breathing Dulmar possessed strength but lacked adaptability. The crystalline Shan couldn't operate in the chaos of close-quarters combat. But humans had evolved as persistence predators on a death world called Earth, where everything from microorganisms to weather patterns actively tried to kill them. They were survivors, programmed for violence at the genetic level. Nyla accessed Brian's psychological profile through the diplomatic database. Age, 28 Earth years. Former military service in something called the Marine Corps. 4 combat deployments to conflict zones Nyla couldn't pronounce. Honorable discharge with commendations for actions the file classified as above and beyond expected parameters. The psychological evaluation noted a peculiar human condition, post-traumatic stress disorder. The human mind, it seemed, couldn't process extreme violence without fragmenting. Yet Brian had volunteered for the diplomatic mission, had submitted to Vorathi medical scans, had even demonstrated his combat capabilities when requested, all behaviors suggesting functional integration despite psychological scarring. Fascinating. Below, Brian had stopped moving. He stood in the center of the arena, chest heaving, arms loose at his sides. For a moment, Nyla thought he might have detected the observation equipment, but then he simply walked to the water dispenser and drank, his throat working as the liquid disappeared. Nyla made her decision. She activated the communication panel. Subject Brian Morrison, please report to conference room Theta 7 inches. 1 standard hour. Official diplomatic request. Priority classification. Amber. The message would reach his personal display within seconds. Amber classification meant attendance was mandatory, but not emergency level. It would give him time to clean up, to present himself properly. AI. Prepare a contract proposal. Nyla commanded, her fingers dancing across the haptic interface. Cross-reference with Vorathi military integration protocols. Sections dealing with foreign specialist recruitment. Include full citizenship rights. Command rank equivalent to his previous service grade. And she paused, considering the psychological profile. Include clauses for ongoing medical support, specifically targeting trauma-associated neurological conditions. Proposal generated. The AI responded. Probability of acceptance, 37%. Human psychology suggests strong tribal affiliations that may conflict with foreign military service. Then I'll make the tribe bigger, Nyla said, watching Brian leave the arena. The Vorathi expansion doesn't conquer worlds. We integrate them. And integration begins with understanding. She thought of the way Brian moved, the controlled fury, the mathematical precision of violence refined into art. Among the Vorathi, warriors were treasured not just for their strength but for their ability to adapt, to improvise, to survive in environments that would kill lesser beings. Brian had survived Earth. He had survived human wars. He would survive what came next. That warrior should be mine, Nyla repeated, this time with certainty rather than longing. And he will be. The observation chamber's lights dimmed as she departed, leaving only the holographic replay of Brian's movements, cycling endlessly in the darkness like a promise of violence yet to come.